We are in the second section on page Hey in the pamphlets. On the end of the fourth line from the beginning of that section.
Can I ask a question before we move
Huh?
on? Can I ask a question before we move on?
We'll see. Go ahead.
The Rebbe was talking about a kochot from the beginning of AyinBase, and then he spoke about right at the end. So why did the Rebbe switch to talking about when he was talking about the kochot the whole time?
Because the essence of every koyach is oir. The principle that becomes a koyach, that is when it is reduced to the point where it becomes just functional. But in essence, everything is oir. The neshama does not know koyach per se. Like we discussed, the koyach ha'halicha, koyach of going, walking. So walking is a physical act. But what is it, what motivates it from the neshama perspective? It's not even the movement, and it's not even being there. It is the fact that, as the Baal Shem Tov says, mokim sheritzonah she'odom shomhu, that he already encompasses the entire environment, and therefore going there is not a principle a change. It's just following through and on the practical level, the truth as I already know, that's oir. The principle of every koich is oir. That's what Rebbe says, that the Sechel is mislabish in all the vodim in all the koiches. But the principle Sechel, where this is the Oira Sechel, this is only the haskalah in the place where the Sechel can be housed at home, so to speak, not in a strange place. Only the moach that welcomes the Sechel per se, not because the Sechel is affecting it and has any kind of a functional purpose. Just to recognize the truth of Sechel, this is what moach is. Like it says, haskalah amukois v'nailos. Haskalah amukois v'nailos does not have any practical ramification. It is just to have an insight and to relate to the emes, to the neshama emes. That is exclusively in the moach. The hand has no shaychus to that at all. It's enough that the hand is subservient to it. That's already a big madrig. So in this second section on page 8, I should be on 5 lines down, on the end of that 5th line, he starts talking about the principle. How is it that the vodim have such an effect on the kochos to the point that the kochos are actually transformed? Like you said, the paradigm change in the koch from being only related to ruchnius, and now they can understand gashmiut and can relate to gashmiut. Okay, 4 lines from the top. The line begins klal. He says that in the koyach itself he has no shaychus to gashmiut at all. Klal haskalah gashmiut. Ukshem mislabish b'choyman hamoach, and then when this sechel is mislabish b'choyman hamoach, within the actual, pardon me, the actual chomer, the actual physical makeup of the moach. And moach actually lives and sensitive to this. Harehu maskil haskalah gashmis. Thereby, the sechel is brought down to the point where it can be maskil, it can comprehend and conceptualize. Haskalah gashmis, a gashmis is a haskalah. Let me demonstrate this, the principle in this, haskalah gashmis. In gashmis itself, things are known only by touch. That's what the materials of gashmis. So, for example, a table does not have 4 legs. The gashmis, nothing is. Oh, but it doesn't stand. Oh, so I know there's something missing. There's not a concept behind it. There's no seichel concept that it needs to have 4 legs and 2 legs is not good enough. The gashmiut, if I touch the edge of the table on a straight edge, I feel I can hold. Whenever I touch it at the angle, it actually hurt me. So the gashmiut, this is how the gashmiut says, this doesn't fit. You don't go there. You go here. So take this in a different arena. As I always point out, you have a picture frame hanging on your wall. A picture frame is a picture frame regardless how it hangs, whether it's straight or crooked. How do you know that it's crooked? The Sechel says something is not right. It's not by your touch and feel. It's in contrast to the table. No, it just doesn't look right. The picture frame has to be hanging straight. This is, so to speak, a ruchnizike perception, because it does not affect you b'gashmis. To have that perception, this is clearly it's in gashmis, but this is when the seichel has been imbued in the moach hagashmi, so that the seichel now is sensitive to where gashmius is. But it is a ruchnizike inyan in the gashmius. It's not the gashmi itself. It is, what does it look like? Like you said, the oyer. How is it represented in the proper framework, in the proper respect? That's a ruchnis ikinim, but the ruchnis as applied to gashmis. To sense that the inyan, pardon me, that the picture frame is not hanging appropriately, that you need the seichel into gashmis itself. And I'll contrast that with another aspect also in the picture frame. There's a story, the Rebbe mentions it the Paltiel mentions it in a Maimer, that there was a famous painter, an artist, and he painted a whole panorama, lifelike, mamish lifelike, and everybody was standing there and admiring. They couldn't get over how it's a huge wall-size mural, so to speak, and the whole panorama described, showing the king's garden or something like that. And then comes in a farmer, and he looks at this picture, and he says, Something is wrong with this picture. Everybody says, who are you to criticize this famous artist? He says, no, it's wrong. What's wrong? See that bird standing on the branch? And the branch is not bent. When a bird stands on a thin branch, the branch bends. And this branch is not bent. So the whole thing is wrong. This, so to speak, the representation of a view of a human perception thing. This is a very much more ruchnius than how the picture frame is standing. This is closer to the Sechel than how you put the picture frame up, which does not really change anything in terms of what it represents. So the Rebbe is explaining that because when the Sechel, the Kochot are mislabesh and the Evorim actually draw the Sechel, the Kochot, to their own level. So the kochos are able to relate to inyonim at the level of the Evorim themselves. It's a kochos, but it's a level. It's a seichel. But what does seichel identify? It identifies the gashmiut perception, presence. Relative to the picture frame hanging straight, the bird standing on the branch is ruchni, in a relative sense. Because the Ayin that the bird is standing on the bench and the bench is bending is a sense of the life element that's going on. It's not a physical thing. Everything, there's a living panorama here. That is more closer to the seichel, to the kochos hanefesh, than the picture frame hanging straight. And yet, the seichel is brought down to recognize mamash gashmiut kinyan. And that is, in the line begins klal. But then when the seichel is mislabesh in the chomer hamoyach, haskalah gashmiut, then he is able to comprehend and actually conceptualize haskalah gashmiut, a gashmiut perception. Agam, although the bislapshus b'moyach, that bislapshus b'moyach, when it is mislabesh in the moyach, gam kein, even then, iker inyone shahaseichel the neshama. The principal inyan, focus of the seichel of the neshama, and the principal intent, and it's coming down and be mislabish in the goof. Hu lahaskil binyone elokus. It's principally to be maskil, to conceptualize and recognize elokus inyonim rather than gashmiut inyonim. In other words, even after he is mislabish in the moyach, the principal inyan of the seichel of the neshama, and its a principal purpose and focus is to be masculine in yon olakus. So let us focus in and common recognize what the Rebbe is saying, how the Rebbe refers to the seichel. Yikir in Yonosha ha-seichel the neshama, the seichel of the neshama. What the Rebbe is saying is the principle that we mention all the time. Seichel is a neshama quality. Sechel is verified. What verified means? Verified means substantiated. What makes it real? It's substantiated by neshama rather than by guf and gashmis. When you go to work, you say, "Oh, it's a worthwhile activity." On the simplest level, what substantiates this activity? You're going to get paid. You're going to be able to pay your rent and support your family. So it's substantiated by a worldly result. But when one sits down at 6:30 in the morning to learn AyinBase, that's not substantiated by a gashmiut result. It's a neshama. There's a neshama truth that surfaces. This is sechel. Iker inyone sechel the neshama, the sechel of the neshama, because the neshama, the sechel is actually a neshama emanation. The reason that the sechel, that it makes sense, that you understand, is because there is a neshama element in it. There's no gashmiut in this at all. And then the principal intent and it's coming down. It's ultimately to be maskil, to comprehend and to conceptualize inyanim of elokus. This is his principle, not the gashmiut that the moach facilitates. So that, in principle, even when the sechel is mislabish in the moach and is affected by the moach, it remains in principle a neshama element. And then there's a long parenthesis. Ve'im heyois, and although shebe'emes, that in truth, excuse me, b'chol haskalah gashmis, in any haskalah gashmis, in any gashmizike, even gashmizike concept, or b'chol inyan gashmi, in every inyan a gashmi, yesh b'zeh mehanshama ha'elokis. There is in that haskalah of the neshama elokis an element of the neshama. There's a neshama element. But you point out all the time that a person, a human being, sits in front of a table. A table is a gashmiut structure, and in fact, it facilitates gashmiut comfort. Please mute your phone. Hello. It facilitates comfort on a gashmiut level. But, as we point out all the time, that is not the essence of the human being relation to table. The table is representing a certain essential quality, essential pride, essential respect that is in the essence of the neshama. There's a neshama element. You never do a gashmi. There is an element of ruchnis, of neshama. There's a neshama element in everything. And this neshama element is what enables a person to relate to the gashmis and feel comfortable in it. Meisha kosu b'sefer shel beinanim. Meisha kosu b'sefer shel beinanim. And as he writes in Tanya, the Yiken HaChayos in the Shomas Yisrael, that the principal Chayos of the Shomas Yisrael, who me'an Shoma ha'elikis dafka. It is emphatically, so to speak, exclusively for the Neshama elikis. That is the highest of the Neshama Yisrael. This is the highest of the Yid. This is what makes the Yid invigorated, so to speak, to follow through and to act in the world. Ve'alkein, and therefore, b'chol dover, in everything, yesh b'zeh kochot ha'nefesh elikis. In everything there is kochot of the nefesh elikis, the effects and the presence of the nefesh elikis. V'lochein, and therefore, nogeya me'oid, it is extremely significant. Ho'inyonim she'eskim bohem, the inyonim in which one is engaged. Mipnei, because shebechol dover v'dover she'ha'adam peil v'oiseh, because in everything that a person affects and he does, machnis bozeh kochot elikis, he introduces in that kochot elikis, godly kochos. In everything there is a kochot elikis. Even on the most lowest, most practical level, there is an inyan eliki in every action, in every activity, in every engagement that a Yid does.
Can I ask something?
Yeah, go ahead.
It says before, the ikrachi is the nishmas of Tzruel, imam shuma alakis. Which nishmas of Tzruel does it mean? Because the nishmas of Tzruel has chiyas from the nishma alakis, so this nishmas of Tzruel is not the nishma alakis. What nishma is it? All human functions. Yes, there are two neshamas essentially, and they're in conflict. Neshama elikis, nefesh elikis, nefesh abamis. But then they funnel. You know what funnel means? They direct their input through one single funnel. This is called nefesh achiyunis. That which actually relates to the actual functional level. This is the recipient of all messages from the Nefesh Elikis, and all messages of Nefesh Abamis. This Nefesh Achiyunis does not have its own impetus, does not have its own chayos and resource in terms of what does it want. It doesn't want anything, but it's a recipient of the Nefesh Elikis, Nefesh Abamis. It could be enticed by the Nefesh Abamis, and it could be enticed and brought to life to the Nefesh Elikis.
There's no way that a person can take a step, as we discussed in the beginning of this moment, without having the rotzon and the will to make the step. And that will comes from the nefesh, either nefesh habahamis or the nefesh halikis. This is the highest behind every activity. And it's and sense that the highest on the nefesh, the neshamas halikis, the neshamas Yisrael, is primarily for the nefesh halikis. They may not be always conscious of it and aware of it, but that is what entices every one of their actions. Principally. The fact that he may be doing things contrary to the will of the Nefesh Elokis is due to misunderstanding what the Nefesh, what the Nefesh Elokis wants, where the Elokus is. That's called the Ruach Shtus. The Ruach Shtus is Mechas Aloemus. It perverts one's view of the truth. But what one really is looking for is the godly truth.
Does the Nefesh HaChayunis also has the same purpose, like the other two purposes?
The Nefesh HaChayunis is only a conduit. It doesn't have its own interests. All right, this is it for this morning. Sehr gesund. Have a great day.
It's still the conduit for all the kochot and nefesh, as they are in each nefesh.
Yeah, everything goes through one path. Huh?
I had never heard the sexual mention. I mean, it's not a chiddush, the fact that I never heard it. For me, it means something.